Hello, church family. I hope you and your families are doing well. I hope that this upcoming Labor Day weekend is going to be a time of refreshing for you and your families, give you a little break from the start of school. And I just hope it's a great weekend. Have you ever heard the phrase, patience is a virtue? My mom, growing up, has always said this to me, even now, I'll call her and I'll be like, Mom, we just need to go do this. We just need to go do that. My mom's phrase will always be, Stephen, patience is a virtue. Just wait. Let's let it take its time, right? Case in point, this last weekend, my wife was out of town visiting some friends in Dallas. And I was here by myself. I was bored. I had nothing to do. And so I decided the dead tree in the front yard had to come down, or at least I had to start on it. So I went and bought a chainsaw. I jumped up on my ladder and I started trimming off limbs, kind of dropping them here and there and cutting them up. I got a lot of progress done. But in turn, I kind of pulled something in my back. I've been in pain all week, and it's because I wasn't patient enough to wait on someone to come help me. I wasn't also patient enough to call someone and say, hey, I really need your help coming and cutting down this tree. And now I'm living with the consequences of that. But one of the most difficult things for us to do as people, as Christians, is to literally do nothing. I think that we are people of action. And if things do not happen, we tend to make them happen. Jacob, the son of Isaac, was like that. You see, he had been promised a blessing by the Lord when he was born, but he got impatient, and he took matters into his own hands, not only tricking his older brother, but he tricked his father into receiving this blessing. And because of this, he had to run away. Because of this, he lived the rest of his life in anxiety over this matter. I think that his life would have been so much different if he had learned early on to wait on God, to wait on God's timing. In Genesis 46, we see Jacob as an older man, having learned this lesson. We see him appealing to God in the attempt to make a decision on going to visit Joseph, his long-lost son, a son who he had thought to be dead, that has requested him to come to Egypt. So it says this, starting in verse 1, it says, So Israel set out with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. God spoke to Israel in visions of the night and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. He said, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again. And Joseph will close your eyes. Genesis 46, 1 through 4. We can learn a lot from patience. We can learn a lot from waiting on God. I believe that for Jacob, it must have been really hard to know that Joseph was alive, but he had to wait to go see him, right? I can imagine that he just wanted to sprint out, kind of like we see in the story of the prodigal son, to go greet his son. But he waited. He had learned his lesson. He waited patiently on God's timing. So I want to ask you this. What are some areas in your life where you need to wait on God's timing? That maybe it's just not time. And I know that's really hard for us. We're people that aren't very good. We're really impatient people. That's just kind of the lives we live. That person in front of us in the 10 items or less line frustrates us whenever they have 15 to 20 items in their basket. Because that's the speedy checkout, right? We are impatient people. But I think there's a lot that we can learn from being patient and waiting on God's timing. I think that it'll help us avoid costly mistakes. I think it'll help us grow more in godly character with Christ. So I want to encourage you to that. What are some areas that you can be patient in your life? What are some areas that you need to be patient and wait on God's timing in? Again, I hope you have a blessed weekend. I hope that you have a safe Labor Day. And I hope to see you again on Sunday if you are able to join us for our assemblies. Have a great week.